Last week, I made a video on how to create dependent drop-down lists in Excel. Now, while dependent drop-down lists are great, there is one big problem with it. Let me show you what. Here I have two drop-down lists, one for category and one for subcategory, where the subcategory one is the dependent drop-down list. So here, if I choose a category and then I go to subcategory, these options automatically update and I can make a selection. But now if I go back to the category and I change the selection, then this subcategory option does not reset or gets updated. Now this is a problem because this is a wrong combination. So in this video, I'm going to show you two ways to fix it. One, using a very simple logic in conditional formatting, and two, by using a very simple VBA code. Let's see how it's done. So let me first show you the result you are going to get, and then I will show you how to do that using conditional formatting. So here I have category, let me choose furniture, then I would come here, I would choose one of these options. Now if I go back and I change this option, then you will see that this automatically gets highlighted in red color and there's a strike through format. So this instantly visually tells me that this is a wrong option and I need to choose something else. And again, it works for all these cells. So if I choose furniture here, then something in this case, come back here, choose sports, so it gets highlighted. So this is what you can create with conditional formatting. So let me show you how it's done. So I have the same data and on this one, the conditional formatting is not applied, so it's not working. Now the logic here is, let me first make the selection. So the logic here is that I would use a formula within conditional formatting which would check whether the value that is there in subcategory matches the values for the main category. So it somehow needs to check this value for all these values for furniture. If I make this electronics, then it should check with all the values in electronics. If the value in subcategory matches the one in the data, then it is fine. Otherwise, it should get highlighted. So I'm going to use an XLOOKUP formula here where this is going to be my lookup value. And my lookup array is going to be this, and I would press F4 to lock this. And then my return array is going to be all these cells, and I would press F4 to lock it. So what this would do is it would give me all these values for the selected category. If I make this sports, then it changes and gives me the subcategories for sport. Now I need to check whether the one that is there in the subcategory option matches any of these options here. So what I'm going to do is simply use this formula where this XLOOKUP array result is equal to the value in this subcategory. And now when I hit enter, it gives me a series of false, but if I choose the right option, then one of them would turn true because only one can be true, because only one can be the one which is matching with the category. So in this case, all I need to know is if either one value is true. If the value is true, then everything is fine. But if every value is false, then the conditional formatting needs to be triggered. So in this case, I would now come here and use the OR function, and it is going to give me a true or a false. So in this case, because everything is fine, category and subcategory is fine, it gives me true. But if I change this, then it gives me false because this is a mismatch. Now I want my conditional formatting to trigger when this is a false. So I'm just going to reverse this and make this not, so that I am making it true, which means that if there is a mismatch, this value is true, and then conditional formatting would be triggered. So now I can use this formula within conditional formatting, and this is the simple formula that is going to do this. So I'm going to select all these options here, then I'm going to go to the home tab, and within conditional formatting I'm going to click on new rule, and within new formatting rule dialog box, I would choose this option, use a formula to determine which cells to format. So I'm going to use a formula, and if that formula returns true, then conditional formatting is applied. If it returns false, then nothing happens. Now the formula is fine. I need to now specify the format, and there are a lot of things you can actually do with the format. So let's click on this format button, and now I have the format cells dialog box. Now I showed you that you can have the text and you can strike through it and change the color. So to do that, I would go to the font tab here, click on strike through, and then I can change the color to red. And now when I click OK and click OK, you can see this is strike through is applied and the text color is red. If I come back here and I make the selection which is the right combination, it goes away. And if I again go back and make something which is a wrong combination, then again the conditional formatting is triggered, and you can check it for all the other cells. It should be working fine. So this is the right combination, but now if I choose electronics, then this highlights the cell. So this is a very good visual indication that would tell you that you need to change and choose something else in the subcategory. But let me show you something else. So here you can do a lot of other things as well with conditional formatting. So let's go back to conditional formatting rule. So I would click here on conditional formatting, click on manage rules, and double click on this option. Now in the format dialog box, there are other things also that you can do. You can give it a cell color or you can give it a border, red border. But there is something very interesting I want to show you. So if you go to the number tab here and then click on custom, you can actually make this value go away, which means that if I have chosen something which is a wrong combination, nothing would show up in the subcategory cell. See what happens. I'm going to go to the custom option here and then I'm going to just enter 3 semicolon. And when I do that, whatever is the value in the cell on which this formatting is applied, it just goes away. See what happens when I click OK and then I click OK. This goes away. Now this is a wrong combination, so it went away. You can see that the cell value is still there because I can see it in the formula bar, but it is not displayed. And now if I come back and I make the right selection, so I choose sports, it'll come back. So this is how I'm resetting the subcategory, where as soon as it figures out that there's a wrong combination, it just disappears. Another thing you can do is, in this case it disappears, so I may not know I need to choose a subcategory. You can have any text you want here. So again, let's select this, go to the home tab. In conditional formatting, I would click on manage rules. And in this one, I would click on format. And within number tab and in the custom option, instead of these 3 semicolon, what I can do is I can specify what text I want, and that text would appear in the subcategory cells. So see what happens here. In this case, I have 3 semicolon. Now, one thing you need to know about custom formatting is there are 4 parts to custom formatting that you can specify: positive number, negative number, 0, and text. And these 3 semicolon actually separate those 4 parts. So in this case, what I've specified is all the 4 parts are actually blank. This is why the subcategory cells are blank. But if I come here and in the end, I type something like please select in double quotes and click OK, see what happens. Automatically it appears here. Now you can have it in red, you can have it in strike through, or you can remove everything, but this is a lot more intuitive because now I know that with electronics I need to select something. Now, as I said, the value in the backend, it's still there, the one that you selected, which is a wrong combination, but what you see here is a lot more intuitive. It tells you that you need to make a selection. If I come back here, I make the right selection, it comes back, and if I go back again and make a mistake, or by mistake I choose a different category, or I do it purposefully, it tells me to make a different selection, and this is going to work for all these cells. So this is a brilliant way of using conditional formatting to reset your dependent drop-down list. Another great thing about this is that in case you want to print this, so if I press Ctrl P, you will notice that the text that I have in custom formatting, which is please select, that is the text that is showing up in the print preview. So I'm assuming that that is the text that is also going to get printed. So in case you make a mistake, then it is not going to let you go away with the wrong combination. It is going to give you a lot of idea on where is the problem, and you can make the changes. So this is how you can use conditional formatting to reset your dependent drop-down list when there is a mismatch. Now let me show you how you can use a very simple VBA code to do the same. Here again, I have the same drop down, so I can choose a category and then I can choose a subcategory. And if I go back and I choose a different combination, then you can see nothing happens. Now what I want to do is I want to use VBA and somehow either remove this value or give me something a little more descriptive, such as make a selection or please change the selection. So in this case, I'm going to use VBA to do this. So first I'm going to go to the developer tab here and then click on the Visual Basic icon. And when I do that, it opens the Visual Basic editor. You can also use the keyboard shortcut Alt F11. So hold the Alt key and press the F11 key. And when I click on this, it opens this Visual Basic editor. Now within the Visual Basic editor, in most cases, what we usually do is we go to the insert option and then click on a module. But we are not going to do that in this case, because what we are going to use is an event, which means that whenever there is a change in the cell, then somehow VBA needs to notice it and then run a code. So to do that, I'm going to first go into the sheet where I have the dependent drop-down list, which in this case is this sheet, which is named VBA, and it will list all the sheets that you have here. So you can just double click on the sheet that has the dependent drop-down list, and then here you have 2 drop-downs. As of now, it says general and declaration, but when you click here and you'll have the worksheet option, when you click on it, you will automatically see that it chooses worksheet here, and then it says selection change, and it gives you this code here. So you can delete this code, and instead what we are going to do is we are going to go for this option called change. So I've chosen worksheet underscore change event, and anything else is something that I can remove. Now what this does is whenever there is a change in the worksheet, it is going to notice it, and then whatever you specify between these two lines, that is going to happen. Just to show you how it works, let's say I type message box and my name. Now, whenever I do any changes in this sheet, it could be any change, you will notice that the message box appears. So if this, in this case, I come here and I type anything, I hit enter, it shows me the message box. If I come here, I choose a selection from the drop down, it shows me the name. If I come here, I choose something from the subcategory, it shows me my name. So it is working, which means that anything that happens in any of the cell, it is going to work and it is going to show me whatever the code is there in between those two lines. Now, I do not want this to trigger in all the cases. I only want this to trigger whenever there is a change in column E. So let's go back into the VB editor, and here I'm going to remove this part, and now I'm going to write a code. And it's a very simple code. So what I'm going to do is first, one important thing for you to note is in this case, worksheet underscore change event, it says by val target as range. So I'm going to actually use this target word, this variable that would refer to any cell address where the change is done. So what I'm going to do is if target dot column is equal to 5, which means if the target column is column E that has our drop down list, then, and then I can come here and I can say and if. So now what I've done is instead of my code running on any change in any cell in the worksheet, now I want it to run only if the target.column is 5, which means if the column number is E, because this is the column that has the drop down. So if there is any change in any of these drop downs, then the code is going to run. And what I want this code to do is just go to the next cell, which could be target dot offset 0,1 dot value is equal to something like make selection. If you want, you can put anything here. You can put any text you want. I can also highlight it by using these dash lines. And now when I go back, see what happens. As of now, if I come back here and I change this, so if I choose electronics, it is going to automatically change this and it will ask me to make a selection. Now the premise here is that I'm assuming that if I'm changing the category, then there is going to be a mismatch with the subcategory, because the subcategory is going to be different than the main category. Then in that case, you can come here and you can make a selection. And if I again go back and I change this, then it is going to again change and it is going to ask me to choose a different subcategory. So this is a very simple VBA method, quick method that you can use. I personally still prefer conditional formatting because then I don't have to deal with VBA and then saving the VBA code. Also, Excel files, when you're sharing it with someone else, VBA code is not really very handy because sometimes it is not enabled and the user has to enable it. So if you have to use VBA, then this is a good code. Otherwise, you can use the conditional formatting. Also, one important thing is if you're using this VBA code, make sure that you save your file as a macro enabled file with a .xlsm extension, because if you don't, then the code will not be saved and it will go away. So these are two methods that you can use to reset your drop down list. You can use conditional formatting method where we use a very simple conditional formatting rule, and then you can highlight the cell, or you can make it empty, or you can type anything you want, or you can use this simple VBA code. That's it in this video. I hope you found this useful. Also, if you're liking these videos, please subscribe to this YouTube channel and click on the bell icon so that you never miss out on any new Excel tips video I come up with. Thank you and have a nice day.